Hey everybody, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about measures of variability. And what that is variability just tells us how data is spread out. So today we're going to be talking about a visual that you can use. It's called a box and whisker plot that helps us easily identify the variability in the data. And once you get into high school, you'll learn about statistical analysis and the bell curve and standard deviation from the norm. That all is about a measure of variability as well, but this will get us started. So your vocabulary that you need to know is what variability is. So again, that is just a description of how data is spread out. Then you have the range, which is the biggest number minus the smallest number in your data set. You definitely will need to know how to do that today. The median, we'll be doing lots of this, finding the middle number of our data set. It's also known as the second quartile in a box and whisker plot. The first quartile is the median of the lower half of data, and the third quartile is the median of the upper half of data. Pause the video. You're going to want to write those down so that you have that. Definitely need to know these key 3 words. So write it down. Remember that today you need to take your time and do what works for you. I'll definitely have a straight edge and a few colors to make your job a little bit easier. So pause the video if you need to get started or if you need more time to write this down. We're going to get started. Okay, so when you're creating a box and whisker plot to variability, you have to first put the numbers in order. You then are going to identify the first and third quartiles, create your box and whisker plot, and then be able to interpret from that data lots of different things. So the first thing you need to do, pause the video and put the numbers right up here in this data set in order from least to greatest. All right, I went ahead and already did that. So check your numbers, making sure that you have the same amount that I do. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 sets of data. So, 11 data points. So my median is also known as my second quartile. And we write quartile first with a Q, and then the number 2 after that is 66. So my median number is 66. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at the left half of my data from that median. I don't include it. I look at the left half. And then I want to find the middle of that set of data. So I go to the middle. I only have 1 in the middle because there's 5 points. And this is known as my first quartile. It's abbreviated as Q1, and that's equal to 61. You're then going to look over at the third quartile, or try to find the third quartile. So you look to the right of the median, and the third quartile is abbreviated Q3. To find the third quartile, you find the number in the middle, and since there's 5 data points, you're just going to have 1 number in the middle. My third quartile is 75. From here, I find it helpful to find the range. So the range is your biggest number minus your smallest number. So you get a range of 41 data points. So when you're making a line graph, which is what you're going to do next, you're going to have to spread out your data for 41 points. You're going to want to make it kind of long. Give yourself some space. This is where your straight edge comes in handy. And then I have to divide it so at least 41 numbers go into it. So I'm going to start looking at my smallest numbers, 51. So I'm going to put 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95. That'll be definite room. And then I'm going to go ahead and put 4 tick marks in between each. So that's even intervals, and I can easily identify which numbers go where. Go ahead and pause the video if you need more time to complete your number line. And I'm going to grab a different color here. So the next is the creation of your box and whisker plot. You need to put a dot at the median, first quartile, and third quartile. You also need to put a dot at the lowest number and the highest number in your data set. I always start with the lowest and the highest first. So I go to 51, go above my number line, and make a dot. This is going to be a part of the whisker. I then like doing the highest number in my data set, 92, go above it, and make a dot. Now, as I said before, we also need to dot at the median, Q2, the first quartile, and the third. So Q2, 66. The first quartile is 61, and the third is 75. So pause the video, making sure that you have dots at 51, 61, 66, 75, and 92. From here, we need to create our box and whisker plot. Our whiskers are from our lowest data point to our first quartile. This is Q1 right here. Q2 if you want to label these to help you out. The whisker also goes from the highest point in your data down to the third quartile. Your box goes around the median, the middle of your data set, so the majority of your data is going to be in here. Then you put a straight line up and down at your median. So I'm going to change colors again so you can see inferences. So just looking at a basic box and whisker plot, even if you're not given the numbers above, you'd be able to put your lowest number would be right there. Your highest number in your data set would be here. This number, like Q2, well, that's equal to your median. This also tells us that 25% of our data is between my lowest number in quartile 1, 25% is here, 25% is there, and 25% is here. That gives us our that gives us our variation of our data set. So it also kind of looks like a cat, or whiskers. Thus the name box and whisker plot. Let's get ready for another one. So the first step again is to order the data from least to greatest. Go ahead and do that. So I put my data in this order from least to greatest, and I'm going to go ahead and find my middle number, my median, my quartile 2. So that's my quartile 2. From there, I'm looking at my left-hand box, and I'm going to find my middle number here. It's a little more tricky now because I have 2 numbers in the middle. Well, what do I do when I have 2 numbers in the middle? Well, I'm going to first write down that my median, or Q2, is equal to 19. I'm trying to find Q1, quartile 1. Well, to do that, I need to add the 2 numbers, 11 and 13 together, and then divide by 2 to find the average. So when I add 11 and 13, I get 24, and when you divide that by 2, you get 12. So my quartile 1 is going to be 12. Quartile 3, I'm going to have 2 numbers in the middle again. In this case, it's 25 and 30. So when I add 25 and 30 together, and you're going to want to show your work just like I'm doing here, I get a sum of 55. If I would divide that by 2 to see the number that's exactly in the middle, I'm going to get a decimal number of 27.5. So if you'd like to find your range to see the spread of your data, to see how many numbers that you're going to have to fit on your number line, I'll have to fit 26 different numbers. So when you're making your line graph, you want to make sure that you have enough room from the smallest to the least. I always like starting a little bit smaller, and I think it's easy to count up by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. I probably could have spread this out a little bit better. I'm just going to redraw my line here. And using a straight edge, obviously, you would be much better than me. Alright, so now that my computer's plugged in, I can actually do this. My first quartile, or I'm going to start by putting my lowest number on my dot. So if I go to 7, go above it, put a dot. I'm going to need quartile 2, which is 19, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, right before 20, and make a dot. 12, I need one at 12. I also need one at 27.5. So 27 is here, 28 is there, right in the middle, 27.5. And then my biggest number is 33. Now from here, I always like doing all my dots first. You could technically connect them as you go, but remember that your box goes from your first quartile to your third, and then your quartile 2 is a special one with the median. So this is your created, finished box and whisker plot, giving you your median, your lowest number, and your highest number, and the measure of variability. So 25% there, a little more here. This is your box and whisker plot. Let's do it again. So look at this cute little guy. You should be able to interpret a box and whisker plot as well. So let's give you some real world examples. So let's just say I did a survey of the minutes spent sleeping each night for my students. Well, if I wanted to pause the video, the first thing I want to do is figure out the tick marks here because it will help me. So if you wanted to figure out the interpretation from all my students, the student who slept the least was 420 minutes. So that was the smallest number in my data set. The most was 540 minutes. That was way over here. The median, so the middle of my data set, is right there. That's 500 minutes is the median. And then quartile 1 goes up to 480. And quartile 3 is 520 minutes. So the majority of your data is going to be between here. So the majority of students, and then the median is 500. So if you wanted to average that out, that would be 8 1/3 hours each night. So probably pretty typical. Let's look at a different one. So is it a part of an ongoing waste reduction effort? The sanitation company that serves Westminster and Hillside tracks the amount of material recycled by households each month. This box and whisker plot show the results. So here's Westminster. It looks like the range is exactly the same between Hillsdale and Westminster. The median number is very different though. This is the upper quartile, quartile 3. So it says which city has an upper quartile that's higher? Well, in order to read this, you just look at the one that's bigger, towards a bigger number. So your answer would be Hillsdale. Let's do another one. So Harold's planning to start a hair salon, wanted to know how many clients to expect. So he tracked the daily client count at several other hair salons, and this is what was shown to him. If this asks you to find the percent of the salons that have 24 or fewer clients each day, the median number is 24. Well, if that's the middle of the data set, what percentage does this represent? Well, this is 25% in this quartile. This is 25% in that quartile. Another 25% and 25%. So from the middle of the data to the end is 50%. So this would be my answer. This is a problem on your homework assignment. Let's go ahead and get it started for you. So the first thing I do here is I order the numbers in order from least to greatest. Then I find the median. So at the median, you're going to want to put a dot above that. That's where your line is going to go. Then you have the number 30. That's the smallest number in your data set. And 75, which is the largest number in your data set. Then you find the median number. This is quartile 3. This is quartile 1. So this would be quartile 2. Sorry, 52. Those are really close together. And then quartile 3 is 70. So your variation of data is right here. So this is a homework problem for you. You're welcome. Measures of variability. It's a cute and cuddly box and whisker plot. Thanks for watching, and please make sure you can tell me what this part is. I have no idea. What is that called again? Well, it's the median in the box and whisker plot. There's a real name. Until then, see ya.